Hello, soulmates, and welcome to the Candid Conversations TV show with DocV. I'm Dr. Virginia LeBlanc-Shazad, the Pivot Maestro and your corner woman, helping you face and embrace those fears to love the skin you're in and just be. At Defining Paths International, we are all about lifting you into a possibility mindset to serve, to profit, and to sustain, not only in business, but also in life. We are all about you. You are our why and our motivation. We're here to help you navigate those waters of your life and put you back into business as we rise together, right? That's how it was meant for us to be, to do, to rise together. And we do that in truth, transparency, and love. So Candid Conversations is an extension of our mission where we engage in real talk with our Define Your Path podcast guests about real experiences, personal journeys, and life and business intersections. So truth and real talk is the norm without exception to help you heal, rebuild, and transform your life from the inside out. So all are welcome to the show. It is our intention to always take you on a journey of revelation, reconciliation, and renaissance in our conversation so that it can empower you to define your own path and help you realize that you are mission essential in making this world a better place, right? So you never know what you're going to get here on this show, but we guarantee it will always be light, love, and life for your soul as you get to know our guests and us a little bit better through a free flow in this space. So we're bringing back Define Your Path podcast spotlight guest, Bindi Ashar. Bindi, welcome back and welcome to Candid Conversations TV show.
Hello, thank you for bringing me back. So excited.
Girl, yes, because you know that 25-30 minutes was not long enough. So
Got a lot more to yap about.
Girl, yes, we do. And audience, if you have not listened to or watched Bindi's podcast episode, you need to do it. Not right now, but after the show. Go check it out on your favorite audio platform or right here on our YouTube channel at Defining Paths Online. So be sure to do that. Don't forget, make a note. So let me refresh your memory a bit about Bindi and who she is. So she's the owner of Mia's Marketing, specializing in web design, marketing funnels, and music production for branding. So yeah, that's going to be juicy to talk about today. With over 10 years of experience, Bindi has created more than 500 custom songs and helped over 100 women entrepreneurs build powerful backend systems for their businesses. Her unique combination of creative and technical skills allows her to help coaches and service providers create compelling brand experiences that truly resonate with their audiences. So Bindi, let's just pick up where we left off in the podcast, in our free flow. And let's start with really just the theme for this season. It's all about rising from the ashes. So let's start with how you've risen from the ashes. Sound like a plan?
Yeah, risen from the ashes, honestly, multiple times. And I don't even know like which time to tell you about. And every single time, undoubtedly, it has been divinity that has saved me. So I feel like that's the thing. And for me, also, a lot of the times, what happens is when things are going perfectly fine, you kind of forget God. And then, something happens in your life that reminds you of God again. So I just feel like that's just a game. That's just a play of God. That's he or she or they're just,
Mm-hmm.
oh, you don't miss me a little bit. I'm gonna give you a little bit of an obstacle. You're gonna think about me. So I feel like it's just that. And every single time it's been like where I felt like I'm completely burned down,
Mm-hmm.
there was a plan that I didn't know about, but they knew that how they wanted to build me up from that. And there was a reason every single time why that happened.
Yeah.
Because then the new version just has so much, like so many more qualities, so many more skills, so many more just tools in my toolbox to be able to deal with life after these situations happen. So now I just look at them like, bring it on. Like another challenge is just something that is an opportunity for us to improve our skills.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I love, Bindi, how, because we've had several conversations now, and I love how you just maintain your joy through it all, right? And that's when also you're in a good place in your soul. And, in the last conversation, you started sharing a little bit also about, and I think this is where we really just kind of clicked in our first conversation, how you integrate just the spiritual world, the spirituality and faith into what you do now. And, my husband and I, we're pioneers in this area of combining the mind, the body, the soul, in business with leading with faith, right? And connecting, being soul led. So, you were sharing last time on the podcast about how that connection has helped to explode your business and how you operate and what you do and how you're integrating it now more intentionally.
Totally. Like since then, I have also like had more experiences that have completely like blown my mind away.
Yeah.
I had a session with someone,
Mhm.
and usually we do like a technical audit or something, and then the spirituality just comes as a bonus on top of it. But this
Yeah.
session was very different. This was because she is a clairvoyant, so she
Mhm.
can see energy, and
Okay.
I can't see anything, but I wanted to like have a little fun session with her. So we did not talk about tech at all. All we did was talk about her financial issues and how we can help her through that. And we talked about Goddess Lakshmi. And for her, she is Catholic, so she also wants to connect with different like deities, and that is totally fine.
Yes.
But when we did this whole session and we just talked through it, she got a lot of clarity. So I don't really know if it's just the clarity that she got, or if because she's a clairvoyant, she can actually see things.
Wow.
She said that when she spoke with me, felt like a wealth portal opened up for her, and she could see that.
Wow. Wow.
And if that is something that could happen just by talking,
Yes.
wow.
Well, just being,
Why
yeah, go ahead.
why would you not want to like put that into your work? Like it's so powerful,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, just being open to the spirit world, to spiritual, because we are spiritual beings. We're souls. Literally, where do we think souls come from? You know, it's divine. We didn't just materialize. So when you're operating with, and then energy also, when you think about energy is connected to that, right? It's all divine. It's all divinity. And when you really lean into that in whatever aspect of life, right? Your everyday being or, business or what have you, it's just a whole nother level that I think you move to, right? And a whole level, a whole nother internal empowering source, right? To push you gently and lovingly forward, right? So you maintain that joy in the midst of storms.
Right? That is so true. Like
Right.
that's the only thing for me right now. This
Mm-hmm.
whole thing, like my whole business of 10 years has been as it feels like it's come to a standstill, not for the worse, but for the better in a way that I'm pivoting, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
It's a huge pivot, and it's in the positive direction. I'm
Yeah.
still retaining a lot of my business aspects that I love, but I'm adding so much more to it when it comes to spirituality. And I feel like I'm only like I'm being very careful with who I work with. And
Yes, that.
yeah, the more
Uh-huh.
spiritual I become, I feel like I have to protect my energy more because just recently something that happened. That's very normal. If there's a misalignment, something like that could totally happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I was trying to do everything in the 3D, which is set up ecosystems and run ads and everything
Mm-hmm.
for a client, and then I was also doing things in the 5D, which is, of course, I love to meditate on Goddess Lakshmi to bring abundance to their workshop or whatever their offer is. And I'm also doing karma clearing with my mentor, who probably you know, Janti Peterson. So
Uh-huh.
I feel like when I'm putting my effort into a project from the 3D and the 5D, it's like me putting myself into it entirely. And
Yeah.
then when that is unappreciated, it kind of feels like I'm doing so much. Like I'm
Yeah.
bringing in Goddess Lakshmi. I don't want to disrespect her.
Yeah.
So then I stopped doing that for that client because if you don't respect the spiritual side of it,
Yeah.
then I'm not going to give it to you,
Yeah.
unfortunately. And I have to be very careful of where I give my energy because
Mhm.
it's it's very special to me. Even the ability that,
Yeah.
someone said that through you, it felt like you were a portal for me to connect with Goddess Lakshmi. And
Yeah.
those words literally, when I heard them, they made me cry. And
Yeah.
if that is something I can do, then I don't want to like waste it
Right.
on like people who are not gonna appreciate it.
You know what, girl, you hit the nail on the head because that was a lesson learned for my husband and I, right? So, we want to because we have such huge hearts, right? We want to serve everyone, right? It's like we want to be the hands and feet, of Jesus in our case, and as his example, reach out and serve and heal and all of this stuff, right? But also we need to realize that when some people can take away your or can shift that energy, right? So as you said, protecting your energy is so important because not everyone comes to the table with good or well intentions, right? And they're not in a similar space or place that you're in, and being open and receptive, they're very transactional, right? And for I think people who operate on that spiritual plane, we're not transactional people, right? We've tapped into our spiritual being. We are relationship people, right? Because that's what, spirits want to commune, with with other spirits, right? And so it's so important. We found that you can't serve everyone, and it's okay to protect your spirit, your energy, right? Yourself when it comes to who you serve. So even like in our discovery calls, I mean, well, one, we make it clear and plain, like on our website or in our calls, like, our intention in the space that we're holding and all of that. And we're not for everyone, and that's okay. I think it's getting to that place where you are okay with someone not being your, well, for lack of a better term, your ideal client, right? So, yeah, what do you think about that?
I should have just spoken to you guys because literally I had to learn this on my own. And
Mhm.
it is something you learn, I guess, as heart-led entrepreneurs once you,
Yeah.
because this world, especially in the technical world, I realize that there are still people that I'm associated with who do not who do not care about spirituality whatsoever. And if my ways of working have changed a little bit, and
Mhm.
if like they're not in line with it, then it's better for me and for them both to maybe work with other people who are more in
Yeah.
alignment with who we are now.
Totally. Yeah, totally. Because
Yeah.
it's like you're trying to pull negative over to positive, and that's not who you are or what we should be doing, right? Because that also affects your just the whole law of attraction. So we want to attract the positive, and we want to keep that health and wellness in our life, because that was something we found also. It was so draining, Bindi, so draining, to where, we started having multiple health issues, or issues we were already dealing with, exacerbated because of the stress, right? Because you're wanting to serve, you want to, and you're operating, as according to, not just skill sets, but your spiritual leading, right? You're following your flow and letting your soul lead. But when people don't understand that or get that, or they're just so bent on their way or the highway, well, I mean, really, in my opinion, those folks should have stayed in corporate. But, I'm not judge, jury, or executioner, but that mentality in the environment, in the movement that Sam and I are, really, leading and speaking more and more about, there's no room or space for that, right? We're in a different time, a different place, right? Remembering who we are, right? That's the thing, remembering who we are and helping people just be once they remember. And it's okay to look at those alignments, right? Those soul alignments, and say, okay, well, this is not an alignment and I have to release this. You release in love, right? But so many of us, I think, thank goodness, I'm healed from that. But a wound can always be reopened, right? So it's like constantly being, I think, cognizant of the fears, right, that people hold up. Oh, I want to please this person, or I want to do this, or do that. It's okay to have that thought, but keep yourself in that healthy, positive, whole space, right? So you can live that more abundant life, right? I like to say it's exponential healing and living that we should be doing, in life and business. Business isn't just, it's not a vehicle. My husband says all the time, it's a responsibility. I wish more people thought of it like that, because if you think of it as a responsibility, it's like your child, right? And you're nurturing it, you're growing it, but also you're taking care of it, and there's also a sense to take care of the others that you serve and serve them the best you can.
That's it. Like, if there are activities that raise our life force energy, and then there are activities that block our life force energy, right? And
Yes.
we always think that, as like, especially me growing up, I've always thought that when I don't have money, I have a separate set of issues that I don't have money. When I do have money, I have a separate set of issues now that I do have clients and I do have money. But now that I've realized it doesn't have to be one way or the other. When you have clients, you don't necessarily have to have problems, because you get to build your life. You get to pick who you want to work with. And that might mean a little bit less money this month or next month. And
Yeah.
that's up to you. It's your choice, right? What you want. And it is absolutely possible to build the life that you want to live. Because I know that I have helped a lot of clients do the same. And I'm constantly doing it for myself too. Like, and I think we are all changing as human beings. And
Yes.
we, yeah, we tend to keep ourselves tied to our identities like 8 years ago and stuff, and we still try to stick to it and hold on to it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just something, I'm just not like that. And I have learned it, and I've learned to move on, because I've made myself feel bad about starting new projects, wanting to do new things over and over again. Like, once this thing starts working, now I'm interested in the new thing. Instead of feeling bad about it, now I just look at it as a way to add skills to my toolbox, more and more skills, so I can meet my clients where they are at. And this
Yes, that.
also keeps
Mm-hmm.
me excited and
Mm-hmm.
keeps me like motivated to do, because I can never do the corporate type of job where I have to go and do the same thing for 9 hours every day. That's
Yeah.
just not me.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
yeah, you get to choose your life, you get to build your life.
You get to build your life, right? You get to discover your path and walk in that. You get to define it, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I love what you said there, Bindi. Also, just in general, yeah, I had a thought. So many thoughts start swirling in these conversations, and I lose the line. But but I love the fact that you embrace all of you. There it is. Thank you. You embrace all of you, your whole soul. So years ago, when I wrote my first book, Love the Skin You're In, How to Conquer Life Through Divergent Thinking, I was making social media posts at the time, and then I realized, oh my goodness, I had made like four little 30 daily meditations for, like 4 volumes. And I called it the Word of the Day for Divergent Souls. And I didn't understand the fullness of that title until I got the clarity this year in how I serve, what my just my guide, the guided experience that I take women through the Power Your Soul Pivot, and in relation to their business. I didn't process until I was in a mentoring session recently with one of my folks, and I was going through this one concept, and I came to the thought about, or I listed divergent thinking in there, and what clicked for me was soul divergence, right? So our souls are not just one, or not in a box, right? We can't put our soul in a box. It's too big for that. It's not meant for that, right? While there's an essence, I think, or not I think, that I know, there are multiple things that we are, or that are at our core of an essence, right? So it might be a helper, it might be a healer, it might be a nurturer, that all of that could exist in one soul. And so what I'm trying to get to here, not winding very well, what I'm trying to get to here is, like, our souls are meant to do and embrace the fullness of our purpose, right? And so that essence might be nurturing, but how do you nurture? There might be several different ways. It might be your essence might be a builder. How do you build? And you know what I mean? I don't know if you're tracking where I'm going with this. And so
Yeah.
many times they put us in these one roles, right? Or in this job. And that's the path we're supposed to be on. And we don't look, it's like we literally have blinders on, those horse blinders. Like we literally have these on and we don't deviate from the path. And we're literally like lambs being led to a slaughter. And so I love how you embrace your whole soul and how you integrate your music even in what you're doing. And you do it unapologetically. So more people in the world need to embrace their divergent souls and be okay with it. Know that there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with you. I say embrace being anything but normal. That's, one of my success principles. So what are your thoughts, Carla?
I've heard the term neurodivergent, and because I use it all the time, but I've never heard the term soul divergent. And I really love that because I think that's what I truly identify with. It's
Yeah.
not just neurodivergent. I feel like my entire identity, everything is just
Yes.
like I feel like sometimes, and it's fine. It's not to like be like, oh, people won't understand or this or that. But I feel like a lot of the times, like people in the 3D who live in the 3D more, like my partner, he's very practical.
Hmm.
He will start laughing when I say things like, you have to mix 3D actions with 5D energetics. He'd be
Hmm.
like, what are you talking about? But it's nice to have such different perspectives in life
Yeah.
because he is like the most practical one, like, and I'm like the most woo-woo one who can actually like I can dream big. You need that person to like dream big and have those visions and have those goals and someone to actually also, and that's why my partner helps because he's
Yes.
always there to ground me too. If
Yes.
and so what helps the most is
Yeah.
feet on the ground, head in the clouds,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the goal because we
Yes.
still need feet on the ground. And
Yeah.
that's what I feel like a lot of people when they don't do the inner work, but they find success in their
Hmm.
business,
Hmm.
they tend to, that's why like sometimes they steer away from their path because the
Hmm.
purification wasn't done before the abundance.
Yeah.
So sometimes the ego interferes and you
Yes.
just become this person that you never thought that you would be. But
Well,
that's also what
yeah.
um, a lot of abundance without purification, it
Yeah.
can do to a person. So it's
Yeah.
also like that's why I feel like it's very important now, especially
Yeah.
since we all move forward as collective consciousness towards a better tomorrow.
Yeah.
We have to be very careful of who
Yes.
has the power.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's why we need the power as women.
Yeah.
If you know that you have done some inner work to know
Hmm.
that you are not a completely messed up person and if you have the power and money, you are gonna help the society and do something better, then work towards it. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. I firmly believe, and I used actually on the last season of Candid Conversations, I would always say, as a woman heals, the earth heals. And it's so true. Not to preclude or not include our wonderful men who love us and we love back. Because there's something also, and that's a whole nother conversation, just about bringing together the masculine and feminine energy in a healthy space and place, which is, ultimately going to, be a
Yeah.
magnificent thing. But you said something a minute ago. I'm going to go here. So, folks who have not done the spiritual work, the sacred work, the purification, or the inward looking, whatever you want to call it, or however you want to speak about it, I don't really view that as abundance. I view that as riches acquired, or I can't think of another term right now, but I feel like abundance is really when you have done that work, right? The combination of that work with reaching your own personally identified measures of success, right? Because who defines success? We do, right? Not society, not culture, not, any of this. So money is not success. Money is something.
Yeah,
If that were the case, look at
you're
all
right.
these, gazillionaires who are miserable, right? Or
Yep.
literally they could save the world and they're not because, yeah, so
They're sad too. They're sad themselves.
yes.
So true. You're right. It's not abundance, huh? Abundance is when it comes in all forms. Its
Yeah.
spirituality is also a form of abundance.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah,
You're right.
I think because at that point we can operate, in that optimal on that higher plane, right? So when life comes at us, like we were kind of talking at the top of the show, when life comes at us, I mean, you can pivot literally. That's what soul pivot, that's part of what it's about, just getting having that resilience that comes from the soul, that divine power, internally that once we tap into it, we understand, our giftings, our power. We can operate in them in a newness and in a light. Literally, it's a soul revival.
And here's also just a point
Hmm.
from somebody who's in the 3D's perspective, how my divine power scares them. So
Mm,
for me, um, since I felt like I have been in my power. I tend to make decisions and I tend to know things
yes.
about like, okay, this is aligned or this is not aligned. I just have an idea. I might still work with someone if I'm in transition,
Yes.
but when I find that something's not working, and if I go and tell my partner, like, hey, I don't think that this is working, and that's me saying that in my divine power
Yeah.
versus them feeling like it's a reckless decision,
Yes.
whereas it coming off as something that's like we're just making a decision just hastily because we're
Mm,
in emotions versus just knowing that from your gut, from your deep
yes.
intuitive knowledge, just knowing if
Yeah.
something is for you or not. And
Yeah.
that's why for me it's so easy and it's so
Mm,
such a quick decision to feel like, okay, I don't feel like this is working out with this client or that client. And I think that the sooner I tell them that, hey, this is not working out, you might find somebody else who's actually better aligned for you. They're saving their money and I'm saving my time instead
it,
of being like, how much more money can I get from them? And then I know in my heart that maybe I might not be the best person to deliver results for them, but I'll still like keep this because I'm afraid that I've either committed or
mm,
there's a contract or I'm just scared to stand up for
yeah.
myself. In that case,
Yeah.
you can't do those things. And that's what I feel like sometimes my partner is so scared. Sometimes he's like,
Yeah.
are you sure? Are you sure? Just make sure it's not like a, like a hasty decision. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I know, I got it. So it's just fascinating how sometimes the more powerful you get, it can
Mhm.
scare people.
Yes, no, that's real and that's very true, because the world identifies or defines normal, right? What's normal? Who's normal? What does normal look like? And again, that was done out of fear, right? And so when you learn how to embrace fear, right, and make it your ally, right? When you learn that all fear is just another energy force or, that darkness that's trying to come over you and trying to move you out of that positive space or place or keep you from moving forward. When I share with my folks, when you feel it, right, just allow yourself to feel it. It's fine, it's there, right? But then examine it. Where is it coming from? Why? But then accept it, right? Because it's real. People who tell you, oh, there's no such thing as fear, or it's a figment of your imagination, or whatever other, myths are out there, they fear, right? So that's a tool they've had to use to suppress it. But then once you feel it, examine it, accept it, release it, right? Release it. Because it's a part of life, it's a part of the human condition, so you just embrace it, but when you release it, you take away its power, right? And that's a choice. That's a energy thing also. that most people, we don't have these conversations in right everyday life, right? So most people aren't aware of these things, right? So what you don't know, you fear, right? Or what looks foreign, you fear, right? And you can't relate to it because you're not operating from a healed heart space, right? You haven't dealt with your soul hurts, right? You haven't pivoted from those hurts and walked through your healing so that you could live in and speak your truth and be whole. So it makes perfect. I resonate with it so much, and it's real, right? And when you start having these conversations, you'll lose people. That's okay. Don't fear it.
Yeah.
It's an alignment thing, right? And those who are meant for you will be there, right? And then new people will be coming into your life. That's just like, how Sam and how I met you first, and then Sam, and then we had just like that beautiful spiritual conversation and just, and just related on so many different levels. And that's life, right? That saying, reason, season, lifetime, that is so true and so real, and we just have to be in a healthy space to identify what's what. Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. Honestly, when we met the first time, I was still going through that same thing of how I'm going to add spirituality into my
Mhm.
technical business, and just seeing you guys be so confident and so open about it really, really was inspirational.
Bindi,
Yeah.
girl, you just poured life into me, girl. No, that is literally that's our movement, that's our prayer, our desire, to and for you to share that just with
You
autonomy.
guys are so you. So you. That's what's the most beautiful thing. Like that's what we want to be, right? Like we all want to just be mostly us, like the most us we can be.
Yeah.
And I felt that energy from you guys. Like you're so authentic, like you're living your truth and like you're announcing it and you're able to just live in it. That's the most beautiful thing, I think. Like, and then I felt that energy, and then
Yeah.
that's what gave me life force. That's what gave me energy in that moment, that, hey, this is something that I can do too. I can actually
Yeah.
include spirituality with confidence and
Yeah.
not have to be apologetic about it.
Ugh, girl, you know what? I got goosebumps everywhere. I'm just smiling. Girl, you just bless me in ways you don't even know and understand.
But
Yeah.
that's your power when you're just being. When you're just being, you don't have to do anything, just be.
Girl, and you don't even know that because I haven't shared this with you, I don't think. Literally, my guided experience with Empower Your Soul Pivot is literally called Just Be You. And it's all about just being. I'm actually getting ready to start a series, on that very topic, that subject. And for you to literally just, I feel like you just manifested it. You just literally, again, I see what the woman was saying about a portal. Like, we've not even talked about that. You know,
Yeah, this is a divine signal.
yes, and that whole just operating from an authentic place and who we are and just being real, unapologetically, girl, it has been hard fought and won. So,
And I
and for
feel that's why I feel like I have a lot to learn from you
oh,
guys.
girl, God bless you. I appreciate you. We appreciate you so much. And girl, we're doing life and business together. So Brandon,
Yeah.
I wish I was literally there with you to give you a big old
Oh,
hug. But
yeah.
yeah, it's so real. And that's what we're supposed to do, sis. We're supposed to pour into each other and speak life and let our light shine. And you never know how you're touching people, and at what point in their life. I recently heard someone say, was talking about just the journey. Like we're all on a journey, right? Whether we realize it or not. And we encounter people, right, on that pathway. And through conversations that you have, you don't even know how you're speaking life or addressing a problem or a challenge in someone's life until they reveal it to you, right? But you're just operating when you're operating in your truth, right? And that's again what Power Your Soul Pivot is all about, operating in your truth. And then my husband's side house builds the architecture for that operation within the business structure. But it's all about operating in your truth so you can be the light that you're supposed to be, right? So literally we're supposed to be beacons on a hill, right? Shining light down into a dark valley. But we can't do that when we don't know who we are, right? And it's a remembering. This is why I have such an aversion to it, and feel free to jump in. I have an aversion when people use the terminology recreate, right? Because it's like there was something wrong with God's creation, right?
Right.
There is nothing wrong with that. So, redefine however you want to, but recreating, we are co-creators with God. That's,
Yeah.
those of us who are in business and we're serving other people. That's who we are. And we are perfectly imperfect, right? Imperfect being the human, the fleshly part, but God made no mistakes. And so
That's
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I just gonna say that I feel like the reason why we are all why we all affect each other's lives in one way or other is because I feel like we're all connected. And
Yes.
there's a terminology in Sanskrit. Yeah, it says
Yeah.
Vasudeva Kutumbakam, which means the whole world is my family.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
and from the point of view of what I have learned from my culture is also that there is a divine mother who
Mhm.
is just the one powerful, and we are all just her babies. We are all just her little bit of like a teeny tiny portion
Yeah.
experiencing life through a
Yeah.
different lens.
Mhm.
So when I meet somebody,
Mhm.
for me, it's just like you are mother, you're mother, you're mother. Everybody is mother
Yeah.
experiencing life through a
Yeah.
different lens. So
Yes.
that really helps me also connect with people in a more like personal way because I have way more compassion naturally when I'm meeting somebody and thinking of them as the mother herself.
Mhm. You know,
So I,
beautiful.
yeah,
Oh, I love that, Bindi. I love that. That is so, and actually, it's that whole thought and understanding and revelation is why my husband, was given the name The One Project, because we are one, right? In every way, shape, or form. So, all of this, so we can be individuals within the collective, right? But we are one when it comes to walking out our purpose, being on this earth, and how we should be operating. That's why it just breaks our hearts with just all the turmoil in the world and how people, just their hurts are showing, right? In a very real way. So if we can be a part of a movement or start movements in our various parts of the vineyard to do what we do and really just heal people through faith and spirituality and literally start healing those wounds. Girl, just imagine what a magnificent, extraordinary, and better world this would be. So, I mean, that's my utopia. Uh,
yeah.
yeah.
And I feel like with love, like
Mhm.
you can change anybody. And
Yes.
as hard as it is, I myself run into this issue sometimes where I'm like, okay, I like to think that divinity exists in everybody and the divine mother is in everybody and we're all just pieces of her. But what about the people that are doing really bad stuff in this world? And that sends me into a spiral and that makes me think, how do I see divinity in those people? And that's when I realized that they could be affected by negative energies. That doesn't mean that they're not divine form in itself. They are still divinity. It's just that they're affected by some negative energies or
Yes.
negative entities. But at the root, you can see that it's a form of mother, and with love, you can bring anyone back.
Yes, girl. Love, that is the key. Love God with all your heart, mind, soul, and love our neighbor as yourself. So many people, I mean, love could and would heal the world. If we could all just find our way to that. But, one of the things I'm going to be dealing with in the Just Be series is, I'll eventually get to the self-love piece because there's some things you got to walk through before that. But if we could just find self-love, and that self-love includes setting boundaries, right? Making decisions about your soul alignment in your business, in your life, all of that, those are indicators of self-love. If we could find that self-love, then we can operate and extend love, and grace and what have you, and mercy to other people. But if we can't get it right within ourselves and we're walking around with self-hate or whatever, and we don't even realize it, what we're speaking to ourselves or into our life, that energy we're speaking and taking in, and putting out there in the world, we don't have a fighting chance, so to
Yeah.
speak. And so when you start to process it in that way, right? Because that saying hurt people, it's cliche, but it's true. It's very true.
Yeah. I feel like that's so true. Hurt people. And
Mhm.
that's like when you that's the thing, like when I just reminds me of this one thing from my childhood when I still remember this. My mom used to always tell my dad because he also has a lot of ADHD like me.
Mhm.
Um she would tell him, you just leave clients that you don't like what's going on. And as a kid, I would wonder, like, that's the most normal thing. That sounds the most normal, that my
Yeah,
dad is leaving the clients that he doesn't like working with. But why
yeah,
is my mom like like not yelling at him, but like why is she like asking him such a
yeah,
question? Why is she arguing with him? Why is she making him feel bad about it?
yeah.
And now, after growing up, I realized that he was building his life. What mattered to him was his mental sanity.
Mm.
And that's why he was dropping clients that didn't align.
Yeah.
And if anything, growing up, just because of his ADHD and my ADHD, me hating on myself, my self-hatred leading to my hatred for my dad, which now, of course, I love him to death because after realizing that he also has ADHD,
Yeah.
it just changed everything for me. That his whole life could have been different if he had just been medicated.
Yeah.
Somebody have just helped him out because it was very taboo in my culture and nobody would get like mental health medications and stuff.
Girl. Yeah.
So, but he realized that he could, and now I learned from him, and the way he's just so chill. He doesn't have a single care in the world. If he is hungry, if he needs to eat right now, nothing else in the world will matter. It's
Yeah.
him and his needs and his internal ecosystem, his soul, his life. And
Yeah.
that just shows me like an example of, I feel like, a man whose internal world is so self-realized
Mm-hmm.
that he seems to not even notice external things sometimes.
Mm.
So I know that there has to be a balance between these two, of course, but you also like internally gotta be at a state where you're so at peace with no matter what
Yes.
client you're working with, what client you're not
Mhm.
working with. When you sit down to have that dish of food, that's all you're present in. You're not thinking about anything else. You're not wondering who is gonna book me, who's not gonna book me, just being like super present in that, like in that activity.
Yes.
And which, I don't know why it reminded me of that story, but it did. And now I strive to be like him more and more,
Yeah.
to reach that state of level of peace, even after dropping clients if I don't feel like working with someone. If it's because right now I'm in such a transitional phase where I feel like I might have to let go of a couple of clients, and it's such a sad moment at the same time because it's like I like these people. I
Mm-hmm.
have worked with them for a long time, to be like, it feels like a breakup almost, to think about like I'm like shutting this part of my business down entirely. So I will be moving on, and like it just
Yeah.
it is such a transitional part in my career right now. But hopefully after a year we're gonna be talking again and I'm gonna tell you how it all worked out great.
You know what? And I have no doubt about that, Bindi, because you are aligning, right? Your soul has been speaking, you're listening to it, right? You're conscious of it. You're operating from that conscious intuition space and place that I like to talk about, and so I have no doubt that in a year from now, things are going to look amazing for you, even more so. They're going to be very different. You're going to be just so tuned in to your channel and following your flow, and that's okay. That's something else, I want to talk about, and girl, because we could just keep talking, but I want to make sure
Totally.
we get in some of these things. you know if more of us understood flow, right? But that flow comes with connecting to your soul, and then also that soul healing, right? Turning that mirror inward and doing that deep dive, right? And to heal those hurts. If more of us followed our flow, also, we could navigate, you could pivot easier, right? That's what you're doing. Like in your aligning, right? You're pivoting things, but then the breakup, quote unquote breakup, isn't so heavy and weighty, and it doesn't affect like your self-worth, right? Or your self-respect or your self-love,
Right.
all those conversations we can have in our head, right, with ourselves. It's sometimes it's a self-preservation thing that we need to lean into, right? Which is can be tied to and is tied to alignment, right? Because if we feel like there's some preservation that needs to happen, that's usually a pretty good indicator that there's something slightly out of alignment, right? So while we can do all of these things, right, and our soul has no limits or bounds, again, because of, the divine connection and flow from, it's not meant that we do it all at once, right? Or maybe even that we do it at all. Maybe we partner with, let's just to go into, the business conversation a little bit. Maybe we partner with people who do what we were doing, but we have that conversation with them to make sure we're not making an unaligned handoff. You know what I mean? Or,
That's
we're
what.
still serving our clients in a way that is going to still, bless them and honor them and the relationship and keep that intact, but
And
respectfully.
also not and also not give a client to my friend who, if I know that the client is quote unquote a bitch, if they're, I don't want them to be that to
Don't do
my
that.
friend too. Yeah.
Totally.
So that's why I'm always like so skeptical of like handing off, because I'm like,
Yeah.
please be nice. Please be nice. Both of y'all be nice to each other.
Yeah. Yeah. But, it's, yeah. Girl, don't do that. You might lose. Yes, yes. So, girl, so we have about, I think about 10 or so more minutes. So in these last few minutes, where do you want to go? Where do you want to take this? What is your soul feeling led to talk about?
My soul is right now feeling really led to talk about and scream about, like, and whoever comes across this podcast, just consider this as a divine, I don't know, interference, but really like look into Goddess Lakshmi right now, because she is really like coming through and she's channeling and she's screaming in my brain to scream this out at everybody, that she is really in the mood to adopt more and more children right now. And
Mm.
if you've ever had any issues with like your parents, or if you've had like, let's say, mommy issues, especially just having that motherly figure who is so giving and full of abundance and love is just the most healing thing I have ever experienced in my life. And I would love for people to experience the same thing. That's why and I used to feel like, is it like selfish to speak about her? And like, am I trying to like get something from it? But in the end, I realized, like, after doing a couple more of these sessions, that it's not coming from a place of what I can get, because all of the sessions that I've done are for free. I just want to have people experience what I experience. And I
Mm.
just want them to feel held in the same way that I do. And I know that it's possible, because I've been down in the dumpster. I've been like in such a bad place without God, without anything. I've
Mm.
been an addict too in my life, and I've sobered up. I've recovered from that, like over a year sober at this point, which is a big win for me.
Yes.
And
Mm.
that was, what was that? That was just me steering away from the path of God. That's
Yeah.
These things only happen to me when I'm distracted from the path of God.
Yeah.
And anytime I'm distracted, God makes sure to bring me back.
Yeah.
And it's his way, it's his play of doing it, and that's totally fine. It's his, her, them, they, whatever it is. But just just do a simple little mantra of Goddess Lakshmi every day. Like, even if you say it like 5 times, just share things with her. Like, she's your mom. Like, you would share things with your mom. Like, hey, I got a new client, or hey, I have this issue that I'm running into, but I don't know what to do, and I'm gonna surrender it to you. You're gonna help me figure it out. I know. Just having that level of faith, just having that level of support that you sometimes wish that you had gone when you were younger, um
Yeah.
is what I think she's healing in me. She's healing not only finances, she's healing way more than that. It was a way bigger
Yeah.
hole that she had to fill. And
Yeah.
she's so massive and just so expansive that she can fill any hole. And that sounds so bad. That sounds so wrong. She, she can just fill your heart up with so much love that you just forget about money, forget about house, forget about material things, forget about your coffee, forget about everything. Just get so lost in that golden light and that beautiful feeling of her. Just, and that is what I want people to really experience. And you'll never have to worry about money, finances. You'll never have to worry about, because I didn't have money to get groceries either, like 6 months ago, literally. And if you can take anything from my story, it's that you do not have to be depressed forever. Things can change. Things can change very fast, especially if you, it's my experience. If you are a spiritual person, I think personal development happens way faster through spirituality.
Yeah,
So yeah,
absolutely.
that's just my little message to the world. Like, believe that there is that universe out there, and if you've ever felt like a lack of a parental figure, this just making universe or mother your parental figure really, really helps all of those deep little inner child traumas that are actually leading to all these financial issues in your life, to be honest.
You know what? Just beautiful, so beautifully
Yeah,
said and heartfelt. Thank you for sharing that, Bindi. I was
of
literally
course.
constantly, the whole time you were talking, I was also, what was echoing in my head was soul hurts, soul hurts, soul hurts, soul healing, soul healing. And and you're absolutely right. The all of the addictions, no matter what they are, right? It can be alcohol, it can be drugs, it can be sex, it could be whatever it is, right? All of these addictions are tied to hurts. Life hurts, right? If you're having trouble grabbing onto the concept of soul hurts, right? Life hurts. We're human beings, we're flesh and bone, and we have a soul inside, right? And life can suffocate and snuff out that soul, and if you want to think about it in the negative and positive energy, same thing. That the positive energy is being snuffed out as life happens, right? And then we start self-medicating in whatever way, shape, or form, and then that turns into an addiction. When if we just took a breath, right? If we had someone to speak life into us, or we just moved into action in a positive direction to activate, those positive forces, or did something, right? And not just continue to stay in our condition, right? Because a lot of people fear change. Change is a beautiful thing. Change is a beautiful thing. And if you're not growing and changing, right, you're not living. You're not walking in your divine purpose or calling or activation, right? So when we understand the power of the divine in our lives, and then the connection also to those of us who are in business or business owners, entrepreneurs, or what have you, and how that tapping into that plug, just brings that electrical current to a whole other level. It's what more people need, right? We need to tap into the divine for that healing so that we can operate in that level. So I love what you shared about just, the just the affirmations or the mantras, repeating that on a daily basis. You can speak life into yourself. This is also a part of, the work that I do, Empower Your Pivot. Understand that we're remembering, but clarity, power, purpose, all of that is inside of us, right? Sometimes we just need a guide to pull it out. Sometimes we can activate it ourselves, you know. But
Yeah.
this
And
is Mhm.
it's very real. Just
Yeah.
just gonna, because I still, I'm not like healed or anything when it comes to my mental health. So I know that it's real. Like, there's times when it's impossible to get out of that rut. Oh my God, I remember those times where it was by myself, I wouldn't have been able to do anything. That's why God comes in. And that's why sometimes you need external forces, be it
Yes.
another person, be it therapist, be it your psychiatrist, be it God, be it your husband, be it your wife, whatever it is,
Yeah.
you sometimes need external help, and that's totally fine. Like
Yeah.
once you get that momentum, it's easier to get out of that. And there's a way out. If anybody, like, please hear it from me because I've been depressed multiple times. I feel like I've been depressed constantly since I was a kid.
Mm.
And because we have so many mental health issues in my families, and I never got diagnosed because again it was very taboo when I was younger. Nobody diagnosed me, and as a kid I was always like doing really well in school because that's where my validation came from. So nobody
Right.
could ever guess
Same.
that something's wrong with me.
Same.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like after growing up, when I figured out that this is real, so I totally like understand. Like it's hard to take that first step. I know, but it is so worth it once you get out of
So
it,
worth it.
and it's totally possible to live a happy, beautiful life. If like, let me be an example, and
Mm-hmm.
I've been on all sorts of medications possible at this point. I'm not even kidding. So like if I could like be alive today, first of all, that's one of the biggest things because I've tried to end it multiple times. If I'm alive today and if I'm happy on top of that, there
Mm-hmm.
has to be something divine going on. There has to be something externally that's going on.
Absolutely.
And yeah, that you have to believe in something other than yourself for a minute.
That's right. That's right. Oh,
Yeah.
Bindi, well said, sis. And I felt every word. I felt your heart. I felt your soul in this conversation. Just thank you for joining me once again and having a candid conversation because more people need to do this and people need to hear your story so they can see themselves in you and in me and, and know that it is possible to find your way to, and healing is ongoing. Let me say that because that I meant to say that earlier. Healing is ongoing, right? So wounds can be open, but when you're on the path of healing and you're getting stronger, then you can close those wounds more quickly, right? Or you can keep your joy in the midst of storms. So thank you for just speaking truth and life into the audience, everyone listening, watching this. Any closing words?
I would just actually like to thank you for bringing it all out for me because of all the beautiful questions that you asked, and you are like a perfect guide in a interview situation, I feel like, because you would always lead me to like the next point that would, I feel like, help whoever's listening the most.
Oh, girl, God bless you. And I'm just following my flow and being obedient. What I receive, what you guys give, yes. So thank you so much for saying, sis. That means the world
Thank
to me. It
you.
lets me know that I'm operating in my soul's purpose and being a blessing and a light and just to give you that space and that platform. So yeah, I receive.
Yeah. Of course. Thank you so much for giving me the space to speak about myself and my story. And let's just hope that this reaches every single person who this can help and beyond and more and more. And I wish that your
Absolutely.
podcast grows because this is some
Oh,
powerful stuff that you're doing.
thank you, sis.
And yeah, I'm here to help in whatever way I can and contribute.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So we will definitely have you back in some capacity. We're figuring out because, like I said, you can't get rid of me, girl. We're doing life and business together now. So,
Yeah, I don't want to get rid of you.
so audience, be sure to reach out to Bindi. Can you drop in comments right now? Was this life giving or not? And I know for a fact it was. So just share the love. Let me say that. Share the love for Bindi right now in comments. You can reach out to her on all her social media platforms, read more about her in the show notes. So make sure you do that. Like and subscribe to this episode, set the notifications so you'll get future episodes and just follow this extraordinary young woman who is just such a blessing and just such a big heart, and who is such a spiritual gift in addition to her technology. We didn't even get to the music, so we're definitely having you back for that one, girl.
Yeah. It's just we're so multifaceted, so much to talk about.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So again, folks, make sure you drop those perspectives, the feelings, your ahas, right? So that blesses us when we see that. So we know we're operating in our fullness and then in the things also that you might want to hear us address more. Again, just subscribe to Defining Paths Online right here on YouTube. And Faithful, I leave you with this. The truth will set you free. You just heard a whole bunch of truth from Bindi Ashar, shining unapologetically, standing in her truth with transparency and love. And it was a beautiful thing to witness. Your call to action: learn how to think without the box, unplug from the matrix and those sociocultural programmings that are holding you back and snuffing out your soul. You know, if you feel a soul ache, right? You know, if you have a soul hurt right now. If you resonated at all with this conversation, you need to take action. Don't be like me, spending years, decades with conditioning that had me mindless spiraling, right? No hope of truly defining my own path, thinking I was, right? Disillusioned with life in so many different ways, unable to heal and progress because of the mask that I was wearing, the state of denial I was living in, hiding my truth and not even realizing it. How did I break free? I had a conversation like this with myself. I had a candid conversation. I apologized to my soul, to my God, and finally chose me and decided to pursue my soul's purpose. With faith as my foundation, conscious intuition as my guide, I decided to be the captain of my fate and master of my soul. That's when I was able to pivot, heal, rebuild, and pursue my humble, transformative greatness like I know you can and will after this empowering conversation with Bindi Ashar. So I ask you guys to have that conversation. What candid conversation is trying to erupt in your soul right now? Is it time to pivot? Are you thinking without the box? Are you ready to define your path? And being ready is simply a choice. I'll let you in on that secret. Make the choice. We're here to help you. Reach out to Bindi. Reach out to Defining Paths with the One Project or Power Your Soul Pivot. We are here for you. We want to help you build your success on a firm foundation, mind, body, soul, and business. We are standing by, and it's your choice to reach out. Once again, I'm DocV, the Pivot Maestro, and your corner woman right here on Candid Conversations TV. Please like, subscribe, set all those notifications, stay plugged in, and always be true to you and define your own path. We'll see you on our next episode. And Bindi, thank you again, girl. Much love.
Thank you.